Welcome to Unspoken Conversations. Your words have power. Together, we will have a multi-generational conversation on topics that are considered taboo, risky, controversial, but most of all, thought-provoking. Our goal is to educate and inspire positive action that will motivate change and understanding. This can only happen when we are willing to have an unspoken conversation. Thank you for joining us. Well, all right. Happy Sunday evening.
Yes, happy Sunday.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Did you say we're on our way to Monday?
Oh, I say yes, happy Sunday
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, but then I was also thinking, wow, we're on our way to Monday again.
already.
Right. So look, so fast, so fast. Well, we're going to get into this conversation. I'm sure many of you have or I hope you have had the opportunity to read the description on the topic today. This is not going to be your traditional conversation about being my brother or sister's keeper. We're actually going to be taking this conversation from a different perspective, maybe more of like, why aren't we our brother or sister's keeper? Hello, Dantia. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome, welcome. And for those who are still coming in, I ask that you like and share um, the link. It is easiest seen on YouTube, but you can also see it on Facebook. But if you go on YouTube, I ask that you like, share, and subscribe. And if you're on Facebook, I ask that you share. And we are unfortunately short to well, we're short our host, our other host, and then we're short one of our guests. So they may or may not pop in. Um yeah. I That's all I got. I don't know where they are. But anyway, well, I can say that our host, he was charging his phone, and he probably done messed around and dozed off, not really sure. And then our guest, not quite sure where he is, but it's okay because look, I got Tina Marie. Yeah, that's right. That's the Tina Marie. Now, well, for look, for this show,
Yes.
we're gonna call her Tina Marie. Um, but actually, this young lady, I met her with a couple of months ago. She is a member of our church, New Beginnings. She happens to sing on the praise team with me, and I just adore her because, honey, she is a character, and I love her. Oh, she be bringing it. Um, Hey Angela, welcome, love. And so but she also fits into the category of millennial. So
Yeah.
this conversation just can't be, it can't be my point, just my point of view, just my perspective, because I don't feel like that's a healthy or robust conversation. I feel like conversations that impact our communities need to be multi generational. And so we all need to be having a seat at a table, discussing the things that impact us. And so that is why uh, Tina Marie is with us. I will let her give you her mini bio, but I want her to first start off with why are we calling you Tina Marie today?
It was actually the automated name that came up when I was signing in on guesting. Um,
Really?
yes.
Oh,
I don't know how, I don't know why,
that's
but it
interesting.
automatically popped up and I just instantly clicked on it for me to sign in. So yes.
Wow.
Essentially my first name is Christina, which is why I go by Tina as a nickname. And Marie is actually my middle name. That's how I get Tina
Oh,
Marie.
oh, okay. So it ain't that random. So
No,
you was
it's
getting ready
not.
to make
It's
me
literally
nervous.
my name.
Okay. Okay, very
Um,
good.
yes. So a little bit of background about me. I am a millennial. I will actually be 33 next Monday on the 3rd of July.
That's
Uh,
why I love you. You're a Cancer. Oh, what
yes,
a
I'm
sign.
a
Hey.
Cancer. I am originally born and raised in Southern California. Um, I have been living in Charlotte for 3 years now. I moved here June of 2020 in the middle of pandemic because
Mm,
that's the year I was turning 30. And I was like, I woke up one day and I was like, do I really want to be 30 years old, still
mm,
living at my parents' house? Or do I want to have a place of my own?
okay.
So I chose a place of my own. And that's how I ended up here in Charlotte. I am a behavior therapist for children and adults with autism. I have been in that field since 2015 now. I started with early intervention with 0 to 3 year olds, and then I
Mm,
moved up to the 3 and adults. I have
mhm,
worked with adults up. The oldest client I had was about 40, I believe. She was an older lady. Um, that had autism and other mental development. So she was my oldest case. I do have a bachelor's in child development and a master's degree in autism specialist
you better
with
go ahead.
emphasis. Yes, yes. I'm a black educated woman all day long.
Hey.
um, yes, so I do have my master's and I have a certificate of completion for applied behavior analysis, which is like the umbrella of the field of ABA and what we do with the like interventions and programs and things that we create for our clients to help them not only be more communicative and productive within their home environment, but within their community and social environment as well. And I'm currently seeking my certification to become a board certified behavior analyst.
Nice. So you a busy little bee, ain't you?
Yes,
All
yes.
right now. Well, very good. So, thank you so much for that, and congratulations,
Thank you.
stepping out on faith, and going from one side of the country to the other. Yeah. So it's one thing to go from north to south, but to go from east to west, I gotta think that had to be like extra scary, especially at 30.
Yeah, it was a
But I,
lot. It was
mhm.
a lot to think about, a lot to prepare for, because of the fact that I went, like you said, I went from the West Coast to the East Coast, and I came here by myself. It's not like I have
Yeah.
family here in North Carolina or anything
Mm.
like that. So to
Oh well, you
really,
got family. You got quite a
yes,
big
I have
family.
family now. When I first came here, it was just me and my dog, but
Okay.
no, now within over the last few years, it's truly been a
Mhm.
blessing to see not only myself grow, but to see my faith in God grow, and
Yes.
find a church home, and like you said, another family here that I didn't
Mhm.
have at
Mhm.
first when I got here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, that's awesome, and so I thank you so much, though, to be willing to want to come and have this conversation with me. Again, for those who are currently viewing, we are supposed to have two additional persons, but I would take it that they must be running on a different, they must be operating in a different time zone. We just gonna say that they operating in a different time zone, but nonetheless the conversation must still go forth and continue. So the catalyst for this conversation was presented to me by a friend of mine. She actually was on my last episode, and hey, yay me, this is episode 14.
Woohoo!
Hey. But she was on my last episode, and we were talking about um look, I can't remember the conversation. Doesn't really matter, because what she did was she showed me, shared with me a video. And in the video it was Kiki Palmer, and she was on so I've since learned that the name of the show is the Terrell Show. And uh he so I didn't watch I didn't watch his entire podcast, but what she sent me was like a snippet of something that they were talking about. And so I really do not know how she got there. I uh I'm not I don't want to say I don't really feel like I need to do like a further dig as to why or the context of the conversation, because I feel like for what I heard, it was significant enough for me to want to be able to have this conversation with everybody. But so Kiki Palmer, and for those who are interested, so I'm not going to try and share the clip, show the clip, because I value everybody's time. And the last time I tried to share a video, it was buffering. I don't know. I've never had my laptop buffer. My Fire Stick, yes. My laptop, no. So I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, I don't think I was violating anything, but who knows? So, but anyway, Kiki Palmer said that, and um, I'm kind of sort of paraphrase, but she basically said she didn't like Claire Huxtable. She said that Claire Huxtable was fake and uppity, that she felt like she was not a true and accurate representation of a black woman um, for that time. So it was on TikTok where this came from. So I was reading the comments, and so like people was like, "Oh no, you can't talk about Claire," and um they was like, and then some people did say, well, yeah, I think you're right, but hey, you can't really talk about Claire Huxtable because Claire Huxtable is an icon. Even the host, he was like, oh, well, I can see where you're coming from with that, but still, Claire Huxtable is an icon. Now, I grew up in the Cosby era, and when I first heard it, I had to first ask myself, okay, do she not like Claire Huxtable, or do she not like Felicia Rashad?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as I listened to her, I feel safe in saying I think she doesn't like Claire Huxtable, a fictitious character. Um, which is fine. At the end of the day, I think everybody has the right to not like whoever they don't like for whatever reason. However, my issue is that you voice that out loud to the world, um, whether Claire Huxtable was a fictitious character or not, she still was a representation, I think, to me, of what we as Black women could be. And so, Chris, I don't know if you got an opportunity to actually check out that clip, but just really just based on what I just said, um, can you give us your take on what she said? And mind you, now if you agree, go for it, because um, it's is no right or wrong
Mhm.
position on these things. We just want, like I said, we want to have a healthy conversation, looking at but these topics from various generations, and like I said, just having robust conversation about these things, because ultimately these things do affect our communities. So, with that being said, you of course you are familiar with Claire Huxtable.
Yes, I am
Mhm.
familiar with the character Claire Huxtable
Mhm.
and the Cosby Show, and like you were stating, not only Kiki Palmer, but a lot of women nowadays within the world um, have like a distorted persona as to what a black woman should act like or should be or how they carry themselves. And I do not agree with her because of the fact that like why can't black women portray themselves as very educated, very bright, knowledgeable, wear fine clothing. Like back in the show, all the women were covered. So it's like,
Mhm.
why is it wrong to dress that way? Or why is it wrong to
Mhm.
carry ourselves that way and not carry ourselves as the persona of this ratchet, loud, always, having an attitude, always arguing, yelling at somebody,
Mhm.
um, type of trait that seems to be normal now in the black woman
Mhm.
community.
Mhm. 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 Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. It was really disturbing to me, because yeah, like you said, I'm going, okay, well, so you would like her if she was ratchet? Yeah, that would work for you? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so are you suggesting that because she wasn't acting ratchet, that that's not an accurate depiction of black women? So she, in the clip, she mocks Claire husband, and she said, Claire goes, "Oh, Cliff," and for whatever reason, that bothered her. And again, I'm like, well, wait a minute, it's still a fictitious character. What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
But the I think so. I mean, if all of us remember the Cosby Show, you remember the particular scene, or the mocking that she's doing. Was always during that time when when Claire would be cozying up to her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but if I remember correctly, there was some episodes Claire brought the fire
Mm-hmm. In
in the
such a
most
fashion.
educated manner,
Yes.
articulated herself beautifully.
And did not have to use a cuss word.
No, ma'am. She went off on you with a smile.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get it twisted. Um, but the greater concern is, so I'm not going to say I'm a fan of Kiki Palmer or I'm not a fan of Kiki Palmer. I don't really feel any particular way about Kiki Palmer, but I know we have, there's a generation of women who do follow her, who maybe she is an icon to them. Maybe they, maybe they look up to her. And hey, Lorene, hey, Carlotta, thank you for joining. Maybe, maybe there's a generation of women that do look up to her. And so with that being said, when you hear your icon, your role model, whoever, make that statement about another black woman, even though that black woman is a fictitious character, still that fictitious character um is a representation of who we could be.
Mm-hmm.
So when that younger generation hears that, what do you think um is the image that gives to that younger generation?
For me, it gives the image that like it's unacceptable and not okay for us to be like Claire Huxtable.
Hmm.
That, like I stated, that we've gone so far deep with the negativity and the negative stereotypes of black women that even with my generation, and then like you said with the people who are following Kiki Palmer, it's like we've all created this mindset that
Mm.
now being these loud ratchet women is more acceptable than being a reserved woman, an educated woman, so to speak, that carries himself with dignity and poise. And shoot, half of the generation don't even know those two words together. So,
That part.
so it's like it's honestly sad because we look so much into these iconic women
Mm.
that go through so many issues and so much trauma and so much negativity that we accept it as if it's supposed to be the normalcy of our lifestyle, when it could be the total opposite, where we could have a lifestyle like Claire Huxtable.
Right, right, right. So I like what Lorraine said. She says, I love Claire because she was the epitome of how we as black women should conduct ourselves. I don't like how the media, i.e., reality TV, how they have black women acting as if they have no class.
Very soft.
So,
Very true.
look, Lorraine, thank you, Lorraine, because that helps us segue into an even greater point. So, remember I said earlier that uh, everybody is entitled to their opinion. At the end of the day, again, I'm not saying that Kiki Palmer cannot like Claire Huxtable. I'm not saying Kiki Palmer can't like Felicia Rashad. You could not like whoever it is you don't like. But my issue now becomes, you didn't say that in the privacy of your own home, in a private conversation amongst your friends, family, whoever. You said that out to the world for the world to see. So it wasn't just your people who you affiliated and associated with. You didn't just say that to them. You said it to everybody. And um, like Lorene said, it's the media. The media has us so manipulated
Mm-hmm.
in our heads that, one, we don't know who we are, and we don't have no problem tearing each other down in the public
Mm-hmm.
for the whole world to see. And those who are truly against us, they just sit back and they just watch me like puppets to them. My son, who again, our co-host, who is I'm just going to assume he ain't gonna make it. We were talking about, we had this list of celebrities that we wanted to like go through. So of course Kiki Palmer was one of them. But another celebrity that we wanted to like talk about was was Monique. So I look, I like Monique. I I I I like Monique. I don't live with Monique, so I don't know what Monique does in her house. But I know that that is a woman who was striving to make her mark um, in in the world of comedy, in the world, in Hollywood or whatever. That was, she was trying to home in on her craft and see and see where it took her. So as to content, no, this conversation is not about about content, what they did, how they did it, and so on and so forth. It's about what we are doing to each other,
Mm-hmm.
um, and we give the world a front seat to it. So Monique, uh, we all know how she's been blackballed in Hollywood. So not gonna talk about Oprah because look, for all I know, I say something about Oprah, but I might get kicked off of Facebook and YouTube. So I ain't gonna say nothing about Oprah now. It's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. But I remember when Monique had the issue with, I believe it was Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, how they not going, how she the money that they offered her to do her stand-up comedy, she was like, huh? But when she said her white counterpart, was it Amy Schumer? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
uh they was offering her like triple that of what they was going to offer Monique, or what they offered her. And then also she also included, I think she included Chris Rock, but Chris Rock back then, not this latest comedy stand up, and somebody else. But anyway, her point was, no, I'm not going to do um no stand up for you and you not pay me my worth.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, oh, she caught it. But the issue, and technically she would not have caught it. The issue became other celebrities did not side with her like they should have. And an image was painted of her that she was difficult to work with, and all this stuff that wasn't true. Now, some you'll say, well, how, well, Tish, how you know it's not true? uh hmm, I'm gonna say it's not true just based on the history of Hollywood and how they do. um why should but why should she not be able to stand up and demand, she look at that, but when she was going to do that Netflix show, she already had an Oscar. So you only going to offer me $25,000? Is you crazy? No, no, no. How much was it? 200? No, it was, no, it wasn't 25. It was like 250 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it was way less than what they were going to what they offered Amy Schumer and Chris Rock and another comedian. And so I was like, yeah, girl, stand your ground. But now I remember some fellow comedians, um, they was like, she didn't handle it right. She didn't do this and yada yada yada. And they went, they allowed a microphone to get stuck up in their face.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of of uplifting that sister, they jumped on the bandwagon and they dogged her out too. So that's Monique. Then we have then we have hmm, okay, so y'all ain't gonna like this one. And then we have Kanye. Now, granted, uh I'm not necessarily 100% convinced that Kanye got no mental health issues. Uh I think Kanye been through some stuff, but for whatever Kanye has been through whatever he's been through. I'm not understanding why other black celebrities got to jump on the bandwagon and want to put him down, and put their mouth on him and what have you, rather than I, at best, if you just don't agree with what he's doing or whatever, how about you just not say nothing? Because I have to say, I have never, I can't think of any situations where I've seen any white celebrities put their mouth on other white celebrities. Um, so Chris, when thinking about just maybe just those two, Monique and Kanye,
Hmm.
this is why I say we are not being our brother or sister's keeper, because we quick. I feel like we quick to throw them under the bus.
Hmm.
Noreen said the other part is that these black women are making a choice to conduct themselves in a negative manner. That is a part I do not like, and I agree, and it's why are they doing that. Look, let's all say it together. Why are they doing that?
Yo.
For the almighty dollar. Well, don't be ashamed. Call it what it is. For the almighty dollar. Well, in this week alone, I have heard, I there have been numerous occasions that I've said it, and then I've heard other people say it. What does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Right? Everybody has, well, all these celebrities, they have a they have a price tag.
Hmm.
That's like, um, I'm uh I'm going to say whatever it is that you want me to say, as long as it don't affect my money.
Right.
Tiffany Haddish is another one. They throw a mic in front of Tiffany Haddish. You ask her a question about one of these celebs. Oh, she all in. Like, really? How about you just don't say nothing? Do you remember the look? Pardon me for saying so. The slap heard around the world when and when Will Smith slapped
Mm-hmm.
Chris Rock. So I know we look, we got some questions about Diddy, but he did say something that was totally of value. And he was like, when after that happened, I remember Diddy saying, "We gonna take care of this in house." Remember I don't even know. So he was. I think he was presenting, but yeah, he was a presenter. But he said that we're gonna take care of this in house. It would have been a beautiful thing if that's what we could have done. But the media searched around for whoever they could get on the mic and give a comment, and for every black person they could that would, they did.
Mm-hmm.
When they tried to talk to Denzel Washington was like, I don't have no comment. Denzel handled it correctly. Even if you know that what Will did was inappropriate, that he should not have done that, that look, that he was tripping, whatever, recognize where you are. Recognize what we're in, which I mean, they know Hollywood. They know Hollywood better than we know Hollywood. Look, you lived out there in California, so I
Hmm.
would dare say, did you get a firsthand was you able to get like a firsthand look of the foolishness or know
When it
people
comes
in
to a
the
lot of
industry?
stuff, yes. Um, Not necessarily like knowing people in the industry, but like knowing people who know people in the industry,
Hmm.
is a lot. And seeing, like you said, on social media and everything like that, it's just like we have come to the point of where, as a community, not only gossiping but bashing one another has become acceptable. Not
Hmm.
only media acceptable, but socially, in our own homes acceptable. And it's
Hmm.
like everybody needs to run their mouth and put their 2 cents in about something when
Hmm.
you don't need to.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of foolishness within the industry, and you hear a lot of the foolishness within the industry, like you was talking about, you know, their souls and stuff. All you hear around there is people selling their souls for the dollar, for
Hmm.
the fame, for the wealth. When
Hmm.
in reality, a lot of those people, if they did sell their soul for the money or the wealth, they're some of the most depressed, uh mentally disturbed people in the world, and they got
Hmm.
some of the most money in the world.
Hmm. 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 I if we think about it, you know how many celebrities they have tried to say, celebrities of color, they have tried to say had mental health issues,
Hmm.
like Martin Lawrence. I saw a YouTube video not too long ago where he was speaking. Well, actually, Dave Chappelle and Dave Chappelle and Cat Williams was talking about well, they was on my Hollywood, but they specifically said that that we have to take a look at what's happening in Hollywood. He said that they said, well, Dave Chappelle said that Martin Lawrence is a strong brother. He said, "What you think they did to that man that he would be running around in the street waving a gun, talking about they trying to kill me?" So they immediately chucked it up to that he was bipolar.
Hmm.
Um, there has only been that I know of right now. There's only been one celebrity of color who has actually said that they were bipolar, and that was Jennifer Lewis. Martin Lawrence never owned up to that.
Hmm.
Um, but they basically was well, so we're gonna there's an my next podcast. I'm gonna get deep. Um, um, and the actual title of that next podcast is called "The Emasculation of the Black Man in Hollywood," and it will be a panel discussion. Uh, but so this podcast kind of segues us segues me into that next conversation. But I wanted to start here because um, I I'm just so I'm so offended. I guess I could say I'm offended at how we how black celebrities throw other black celebrities under the bus quick.
Hmm. Especially black women.
Hmm. What examples of outside of Kiki and Monique and Oprah? um, what other black women can you think of? Black female celebrities? Can you think of that you have heard of do that?
Mm. Let's so like for example, um I used to watch this show called Love and Hip Hop.
Hmm.
And you know
Which one?
that's
Yeah,
my
like which one?
I used to watch Love and Hip Hop LA, Love and Hip Hop New
Mm,
York, Love and Hip Hop Miami, almost all of them. And you know, all of them are up and coming artists, or they are artists who have
mhm.
previously,
Right.
you know, fallen off and they're trying to get their career back. And within that show, like I eventually had to stop watching it as I, you know, grew older because in that show, it's all about one black woman bashing the other black woman, talking down on them, talking down about, you
Mhm,
know, their marriage or their
mhm,
relationship, who they are. Like for example, Cardi B. Cardi
mhm,
B started on Love and Hip Hop, and she was
mhm,
actually a stripper.
mhm, mhm,
And she got bashed so much for being a stripper on that show. You know, all of them saying that she's a hoe and she did this and she does, you know, showing her
mhm,
body, shaking her butt for money, all of that. But in reality, she was the smartest one because with all of the, you know, stuff going on that, you know, she being a stripper, she wasn't in a relationship on the show where she was
mhm.
getting dogged out by her man.
Yeah,
She wasn't in the like for instance, there was this couple called like Kirk and Rashida. Um,
yeah, I
you know,
remember
they were like the iconic marriage couple in the
them.
show, but
Mhm.
Kirk cheated on his own wife and got the woman
Right,
pregnant.
right. I remember that.
Right.
I did see that episode.
Right. And this is
Yeah,
televised.
I saw that season. Well, yeah,
This is
that was a long
televised.
time ago.
And she got Rashida got dogged so much
Mhm,
for that. And it's like,
mhm,
but yet she wanted to talk bad about Cardi B for being a stripper, but your own husband over here cheating on you, having babies out of wedlock with some other woman.
mhm, mhm,
And you know, and then it was so much not only just negative comments about what a black woman like occupation is, relationship, but it was also, you know, promotion of fighting one another.
mm,
Every episode somebody was fighting somebody, somebody throwing a
mhm,
drink on a person, somebody snatching their
mhm,
wig off, snatching
mhm,
clothes off. It was always something. And it's like,
mhm,
why is it that not only in the black community, but definitely with amongst the black women,
mhm, mhm,
it's promoted for us to immediately go into attack mode versus being
mhm,
able to have to sit down and have a civil conversation.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
And
But and the thing about it is that the things that they would go in on each other for was stupid.
yes, very stupid. Because the fact that they dating the same man
Mhm.
and then you look at the man on the show and you be like, y'all fighting over him? This one? Like
but
why?
but so like and so in those same shows, right? So it was I mean, so Love and Hip Hop, there was the men was on, there were men on there too. So talk about the contrast between how the men conducted themselves and versus how we conducted how black women conducted themselves because like you said, you have this image of how we as black women interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And truth be told, that is 100% orchestrated by the producers. So I mean, let's be real. Um because I have to say I really don't we're not that venomous. We're not.
Mm-hmm.
But you tell me I'm gonna pay you $500,000. What I'm doing for it? But that's a sidebar. The men, I is I don't remember. Yeah, I only watched the Love and Hip Hop with Stevie J on it.
Mm-hmm. That's Atlanta.
Hmm. Um, I can't remember seeing men go at each other like the women did.
Mm-hmm.
But being that you watch more um uh seasons and spin-offs or what have you of it, what would you say? Because yeah, I don't have that much context for the other shows.
Um, for the men, yes, I would say the men, they would definitely conduct themselves in a better manner. It was way less fighting, like fist fighting and stuff like that between the men versus the women. Um, like, any argument, depending on what it is, you might get, both parties might get heated and have, emotions or frustrations with it, but the men were more so able to handle themselves.
Hmm.
Uh,
But what did you see? Would you say that there was like backstabbing, like um or compromising in their behaviors, like like instead of uplifting each other, they would be cutthroat, or steal a record deal from somebody else, or something like that, because I
mhm,
anticipate, or I feel like men might not have got physical. See, because thing about black men, if black men get physical, it's like over. um but um where they ruthless and cutthroat, with each other, not really valuing each other. It was all about, it's all about who I can get, what I can get. you know I'm not going to bring you on and help you get your record deal or whatever. What the men's interactions with each other, how they conducted themselves, because like a lot of them women, it was cutthroat.
mhm. For the men, there were moments and times in the show where they might have a cutthroat moment, where they might steal an artist from another producer
Hmm.
that was on the show, or another songwriter that was on the show. But like you said, the women in the show were way, way more cutthroat with what they did in front of each other and behind each other's backs versus the men. It will mostly be like the men might have, their back and forth conversations, but by the next episode or two, it's a done deal. But for the women, their issues can go on for like three,
Mhm.
4, 5 episodes
Mhm. Mhm.
and, drag it out. So I don't know if it's, like you said, it was the producers like orchestrate, what's going on. And it's like, do they feel that they get more ratings?
Mm.
The women
But having the
are
women like.
making, all the drama and all the issues going on in the show versus having the men, which is why,
Mhm.
most of the time it was always a woman getting into an argument or into a fight in an episode
Mhm.
versus a man. Um, or like you said, being cutthroat, doing things, shady
Mhm.
things behind each other's
Mhm.
backs, stuff. Um, like, do they feel because
Mhm.
of black woman they get more out of it? Uh,
Mhm.
which is like the big thing about the social media, especially within the black community, because you see more so everything is black women.
So look, what you just did, what we just did was just birthed a whole nother episode. Because as I'm listening to you, I'm going. So so the one that was about men was Kevin Hart's how was a Hollywood Husbands.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a satire. That was, that was a comedic show. It was done for the, it was basically like making a mockery of all these other shows that have to do with women. But as I'm listening to you, I'm going, "Oh my god. All these shows is always housewives of something." And it doesn't matter whether it's Housewives of Beverly Hills, Housewives of Potomac,
Mm-hmm.
Housewives of Atlanta. You got housewives all over the place. Some are white,
Wise, basketball
some
wise,
are,
all
some are black, some are Hispanic, but it's all women. Hello, why? And yeah, that's another conversation.
mm-hmm.
Cause Eh, I'm sorry, ain't nobody getting this. Ain't nobody thought to ask, why all these housewives shows, reality shows popping up, further exploiting women.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Teresa said, "Well, you right, Miss Teresa." Miss Teresa said, um, "If we didn't watch that nonsense, it wouldn't exist. People perpetrate what producers initiate on those shows. Ratings are all that matter." And yes, ma'am, you are 100% right. We are just as guilty
Mm-hmm.
as um well, here's the thing. Here's a thought. Um us as viewers, because we watch right along with the producers who manipulate, we I feel like we too take a part in the victimization of these women. So because to Miss Teresa's point, if we didn't watch, there would be no show. So you have these Hollywood producers that I don't know, I don't know how, well, I guess they figure, there is money to be made off of viewing somebody else's misery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so,
Misery loves company, and we the company.
right, and so they was like, oh, we're gonna tap into this, and we're gonna make billions
Mm-hmm.
off of this dysfunctionality, and have these women do all levels of foolishness, and degrade themselves and demean themselves, but we're gonna pay you for it. And the more you degrade and demean yourself, the more we're gonna pay. And on the flip side, we are sitting and we watching and we tuning in every episode, every episode,
Mm-hmm.
every episode. So you giving that producer exactly what he wants. And so are we not party to the victimization of these women? What you think, Chris?
Mm-hmm. That's a that's a good one. It's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a tough one to speak on because like we are a contributing factor
Mm.
And we are basically showing that the producers are giving us what we want to see, what we want to hear. But it is, like you said, those people on those shows, those are victims because, they are subdued to this money, this lifestyle. And it's like, in order for them to get more money, they have to continue acting like this accordingly because, that's what us viewing is what gets them those high end, price monies and
Mhm.
payout.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I guess this is still on the same vein as being not being my sister's keeper because I want to thank you, Miss Teresa, because I didn't even think of it. I didn't even think of it like that. And like so, Miss Teresa said, historically, it's been shown that people enjoy seeing women fight. Um, um, like mud fights and wrestling and so on and so forth. Um, but honestly, it's really so much um bigger than that because, like I said, if we didn't watch, there would be no show.
Hmm.
Because yes, it's all about ratings, and so we contribute to the dehumanizing of these women, and because they have been so blinded by the dollar sign, some of them can't see what's being done to them, and
Hmm.
we don't help it. And then on top of that, then we turn around and we want to dog them out
Hmm.
and talk about them and call them ratchet. Mm.
Very true.
Ooh. So Lorraine says, no, we don't have to subscribe to that behavior. We have a choice to be a victim or a victor. You're one, and Lorraine, you're 100%, you 100% right. Everybody, we always have a choice. Um, but so let me ask this question. What desiring to want to have the the so-called finer things in life, to be able to purchase a car that you want, live where you want to live, and so on and so forth, and it's tied to it's tied to some behaviors. um And so let's just, I mean, now, because you do have some, like Housewives of New Jersey, they're white, and Housewives of New York, some of them are white and what have you. I
Hmm.
don't I don't I will admit that I don't watch those shows. Um and so here's the thing. I don't watch those shows because I really wasn't necessarily interested in what they were doing, because I felt like, as white women, that whatever it was that you were doing, I wasn't going to be able to relate to, so I wasn't interested in watching.
Hmm.
So I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Sure.
That's why we would watch Housewives of Atlanta, we would watch Housewives of Potomac. Though let me tell you, I felt some type of way about Housewives of Potomac when it first came out, because I was trying to figure out why all of them was light skinned.
Mm.
I had an issue with that. That's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, um, uh, when I guess when you think that you can't make it no other way, and what have you. So again, back to selling your soul. When you
Hmm.
think that you can make it no other way, um, it is it Oh my God, it's Hollywood is it's like Hollywood is literally. Mm. I'm sorry, y'all. Don't get mad, but we're gonna have to call it. We gonna have to really call it what it is. So Hollywood is the pimp, and these women on these shows are um the. I'm gonna be nice and say they're the escorts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we are the Johns.
Mm. That's the way to put it.
I mean, I look. I feel like at the end of the day, you got to be willing to stand up and look in the mirror and take ownership for your part.
Yeah.
So Lorene says, I don't want to watch shows that depict black women in a negative light. I focus on women who uplift and elevate me. Absolutely. So everybody, every woman who follows my podcast, uh, all of y'all are believers. Um, we are all of the same vein, but let us not get it twisted. All of us was not ain't we all ain't been saved out the womb. We all have not been saved out the womb, and even if we don't do it now, we have done it. And if we have not done it, we know some women that do it. And so the issue is not that, oh, we don't do it, it's the issue that there's a whole lot of us that do and don't realize what we are doing.
Mm-hmm. So,
Is huh? Is that not a fair, like a fair assessment? Like, so we have to be willing to look at yourself in the mirror. And so again, definitely never to point no fingers or whatever. But again, like I said, if we not doing it now, uh we know some women who watch faithfully.
mm-hmm.
Like they will not miss an episode. Like the reality show, that's the housewife shows, they've become like the soaps.
Yep.
Remember back then? But no,
Wait.
look, they wouldn't miss a soap opera.
Okay.
So, and so we now, you have women now who treat um um these reality shows just like that. Mm. Miss Risa says, producers watch societal trends and create real life from what real life is showing them. No one is standing up and saying no to this negativity. Yes, ma'am, you are exactly right. And that's why I think that it's important to have these particular conversations. So again, everyone right now who is currently watching. So number one, uh my YouTube page, and it's supposed to be this Facebook page, is public. So at the end of the day, anybody technically can access my podcast. I want people to access my podcast. I want people to challenge the conversation. I I I started on day one, and I said I'm not an authority on nothing. I am not, but I am passionate about people. I've always been like that. And if it requires me being transparent to the point that I got to point the finger back at myself, then I'm willing to do that, because I have granddaughters. I have grandsons. And I have to be able to tell you that no, this is why you can't watch these reality shows, because ultimately this is what's happening. Hollywood is the pimp, and they are pimping out these women on these shows, And we, as we sit back and watch, we are the Johns. I, look, we gonna have to break it down to our kids because they understand way more than what we give them credit for,
Hmm.
and so we got to be plain and honest and clear and transparent. This is what we're doing. This is what's wrong with this. And then the question becomes, well, why are these women allowing this to be allowing this to happen, to be treated like this, and so on and so forth? Because if you can't see past your what's standing right in front of you, like I heard someone say, what there's a whole lot of people who are willing to do a whole lot for $1 million.
Hmm.
And if you don't have $1 million, oh, you willing to do a whole lot for $1 million. It becomes a question of your character and your integrity. We they ain't really teaching character and integrity anymore. They really, it's more about get yours.
Hmm.
So we have a responsibility to teach character and integrity. I didn't expect none of the women watching right now to we, all of us, every last one of us, we all uplift each other. Every woman I know that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, um whether we are whether we sister friends, or we close friends, or even we associates. I don't know no woman. There was no woman that I deal with today, right, that does not value another woman. But I will be honest and say I had to get there. I can't tell you that every woman I dealt with when I was in my 30s and 20s that she was a true woman of character. I'm sorry. If she wasn't, all of them was not. There may have been one or two, but all of them was not. I pray that today, they much better now, but um I can honestly say I I'm gonna say I didn't value my sister like I should have. I wasn't really taught to to value my sister like I should have. And when I say it like that, I don't mean like, my mother didn't teach me, certain things and what have you. It what my mother is teaching me and what I'm being exposed to in the world and what have you, all that's coming in. And so now I have to sit and determine, which one of those things I'm going to use and which one of those things I'm going to allow to propel me. I had to grow up and I had to mature, and I had to learn, right, that women should be valued. Um and I will say the older I get, the more I value women.
Hmm.
I have to say that. The older I get, the more I value women. I am disappointed right now that uh our two male well, our co-host and other guest who was a male was not here because I besides this being a multi-generational conversation, it also has to be male and female, because like how I asked you, what about the males on the reality shows? um I know my son, my son can tell you stuff from a male perspective. And they don't go through what we go through. They don't think the way that we think and what have you. But at the same time, that value part, I don't think that they value each other as men the way that they should either. So it's not just a woman thing. It falls on the side as men as well. So really quick before we end, Vanessa said the same way they build prisons based on the number of minority children in elementary schools. Uh,
Hmm.
Oh yeah, we constantly being studied. But you know what? We
Hmm.
also make it easy because we just be giving up information about each other. Mhm. um, Miss Teresa says, I think some of what one watches is part of maturity. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Cause yeah, at 56 years old, I don't wait. Well, I don't watch reality show. I don't watch no housewife um shows. I just I can't. Um,
Not
but
maturity,
I'm
but
not going.
I think
But
it's
I will say, when I was maybe four early 40s, I did, because I did see Housewives of Atlanta, and I did watch. I think I watched not even the full season of Housewives of Potomac, and I was just so perturbed that I couldn't understand how come all of them was light skinned. I just, for some reason, that just made me feel some type of way. Um, but that, again, that's a whole nother conversation.
hmm
Vanessa says, she says, Amen. We've learned to choose our circles wisely. Yes. Thank God for maturity. Thank God for growth. And lastly, Miss Teresa says, right, Letitia. So if children see what their parents watch, they learn from what they see, and thus the cycle continues. Absolutely. You can't teach what you don't know or practice. Amen.
hmm
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think
and
one
that's
of the things that we can do, we really need to do, is start teaching our children how to value each other. Um
but that right there is a
mhm,
struggle because as years go by, the women are younger and younger having these children, so it's no older adult like back in the day with that wisdom and that knowledge and that understanding to teach these women, because I've seen it where the mother, for example, the mother was hood, she was raised in the hood, the grandmother, as a start, the grandmother was raised in the hood, she has her first child at 15, 16 years old, so that's a child raising a child. And then being that young, you still want to party, you still want to do all these things. And then you know the grandmother is what, 30 years old, and now the daughter is having a child.
mm,
And at 30, you still trying to learn life and learn how to be an adult. And if the grandmother is 30, a lot of times, that's where the cutoff is, where it's no, like how they said back in the day, big mama or
mhm,
anybody out here to really teach the woman, how to act and how to be. And
mm,
so with them being raised on these TV shows,
mhm.
it's just being taught from generation to generation, because there's no one in the family tree
Dynamic.
anymore,
Mhm,
dynamic, that can teach what it is to be like Claire Huxtable, like going back to teach what it is to be like Claire Hustle and have, that class and that dignity. We're all
mhm,
raised on, shaking our behinds and fighting.
mm, mm. Um, mm. as a as a 32-year-old woman, so I I consider you to be I don't want to say um I don't want to say an exception to the norm. That would be so horrible. I think, to say that you were an exception to the norm. So I I I I I want to attribute maybe your groundedness to maybe your parents.
Hmm. Definitely.
Um so you are a 32-year-old woman who has her masters. Um I don't know what that percentage looks like, I would hate to think that you are in a very small, that you are in a minority. I would really really hate to to think that. I really really hope that that is not our reality. I hope that there are more 32-year-olds that have their masters. I hope that there are more 32-year-old women who are grounded, um that are grounded like you. But I will say I appreciate what you just said in terms of, um what your generation sees. Um I feel like you what you just said was that, that y'all, for the most part, y'all don't really have the resources,
Mm-mm.
basically to tell you, how you should be conducting yourselves, and so on and so forth. And so, yeah, I get it. I appreciate you saying that here. Um but I will say that, even if that woman does not exist in your immediate family, there is a woman who God has specifically ordained just for you
Mm-hmm.
to be, um a guide. So it took me back to something that happened this morning, when it's so minute, it's so minor, it's truly kind of sort of like inconsequential, but it it demonstrated, as minor as it was, it demonstrated how important the generations are. It demonstrated how important that that my generation is to your generation. And so I'll share with everybody. Today, this morning in church, um, Chris had on a sweater, and she had a safety pin in it. She was trying to cover up, but she couldn't get the safety pin right where,
It
where you
wouldn't show.
wouldn't see where you wouldn't see the safety pin. So, um, her little sweet humble self, she was like, can you help me? I don't know how to put this safety pin in so that you can't see it. And what did you say? She's saying, what you say? Nobody showed you how to do that.
Mm-mm.
So nothing, totally nothing against her mom. Well, her mom all the way in on the other side of the country, so mom can't even help her do that. So, but I had she came to me, and I had the privilege, right, of being able to show her how to put that safety pin in, so that nobody could see it. And I said to her, that is the importance of the generations.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much that your generation doesn't know, and we have a responsibility, because if we don't, y'all gonna come up and y'all not gonna know anything, and then you won't be able to tell the generation after that, and we're gonna be in a world of trouble. We already technically in a world of trouble. But I appreciate, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming and having this conversation, your transparency, and everything that you brought to the table. I do apologize, because it was supposed to be four of us,
Mm-hmm.
but you held it down, girl. So I thank you. Like, this is what we do as women. We just go ahead and hold it down.
Right.
But
Right.
I thank you. And again, this conversation is helping to segue into a conversation, um, uh, in the next podcast, which will be July 9th. And now, them men gonna show up, because it's all men, um, and just me. But there are conversations that I can't lend to, because I'm not a man. but I am a woman sitting back looking at some things, and I'm concerned.
Mm,
I'm concerned for our men and for the men coming up from, because I also got grandsons. So but yeah, thank you so much. Thank you everyone who um who joined us tonight and contributed to this conversation. I love you all and appreciate you so very much. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I like saying that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Um Keep the comments going. Miss Teresa and Vanessa and Lorraine, thank you so much. I appreciate and value each one of you, your views and perspective. Um, Vanessa, what is SN? Oh, she said, I truly enjoyed the festival yesterday. Are you saying that to me, or are you saying that to Miss Teresa? And Miss Teresa, I'm sorry, Miss. She said women are now. Oh, she so couple of things. Yeah, Miss Teresa, I absolutely agree. So a couple of things she said. Miss Teresa said we need to have a woman to woman workshop with our girls always.
mm-hmm. That'd be good.
Women are now so self-indulged. Many do not think about other women and pulling another up. Yes, ma'am. But I am committed. I am committed to reaching back. Um, oh, okay. So Vanessa said, I said, what is SN? She said, SN is side note.
I know.
Thank you, ma'am. um, um, yes, and Miss Teresa says, thank you. So everybody, thank you so much. I know we did go over a bit, but uh, um, the conversation was necessary. These things were warranted. And so thank you again for uh, uh, um, lending me some time on your Sunday. I have so many you continue to you faithfully support me, and I appreciate you. And your support is such an encouragement to me. Look, I'm gaining momentum. I can't stop. I'm gaining momentum, and I'm showing my heavenly Father, right, that I'm committed to this, and I am patient. And even if just two people be there, I'm gonna keep doing it because I know what he has what he told me, and I just want to be faithful and do my part, even if my part is just this much. I just
Mm-hmm.
want I need to do my part. Because if I do this much and you do this much and everybody else do this, that becomes a lot.
Right.
So, Chris, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I love you and I appreciate you. And welcome to Charlotte. Welcome to the family. And if there's anything that we can ever do for you, help you with, or whatever, do not hesitate. Remember, a closed mouth don't get fed.
Right.
But also, I will say this to everybody: God did not designate everybody for you, just some.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them who they are, and those will be the ones that you can depend on.
Amen to that.
All right. All right, everybody. In the words of Russell Simmons, thank y'all for coming out. God bless you and good night.
Good night.
Bye bye.